somebody says your name, in my stomach there's a pain. You walk in my direction, I go the other way. I start to stutter when I speak, trying to stand but my knees go weak. What's happening to me? In the dark, can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow, staring out the window, trying to stop for a sign. It's the reason why you always on my mind. Yeah. You come around like it's baby, when I see you, when I see you, baby, when I never know when you might walk by. So I gotta be right on time. When I see you, when I see you, I scribble X and O's in my notebook, checking how my hair and my nails look. I feel myself in the zone, get nervous when you're gone. I say I'm not home. See your face and I hear my favorite song. Should I send an email at home? You're the number one topic on the phone. I wonder if you know, or do you have a clue? Yeah. I lay my head on my pillow, and you got me staring out the window. We're showing stars outside. What's the reason why? You're always sexy boy. You're sexy boy. Hey baby, I just wanna know, baby, something now is taking over me. Yeah. I'm not gonna run out, just gonna stand here and sleep.
I almost forgot to add myself. Hello. How is everybody doing? I was back here dancing. I almost forgot to add myself to the little chat. Y'all was going to be looking at a blank screen. How is everybody doing? Thank you so much for being here. Almost 50 people in the spot already. Please hit the like button so we can get even more. I'm so excited to get into this movie. Like, there have been so many freaking opinions. Thank you to everybody who showed up, who saw the movie, haven't seen the movie, and are just indifferent about whether you want this to be a thing or not, and you tired of all things color purple. I appreciate it. Of course, I had to bring through a guest I felt like had a whole... We had to come with receipts. Because if we're not going to have receipts, then what are we here for? Before I bring him out and we get, to what we came here to do, let me read a few comments and we're going to go ahead and get started. Remember to hit that like button. Y'all, Fantasia got me feeling special. I feel like we need to run that back even if we ain't looking at the color purple, because I was feeling myself back here. Let's see. Hello, chat room. Hello, the real cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Mac is here. I already know how you feel about the movie, Mac, but thank you so much for being here. It's all love. Hello, Tony T. Ready for this? Me too. Candy loves to talk TV. Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. Also, Data is in the house. Hey, what's up? TG is always going to be here showing love. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sure that remake Ariel was pretty good in this. Yeah, we gonna talk about it. We gonna talk about it because y'all know I have my thoughts, and my thoughts gonna be my thoughts no matter what. Who said what when they said it, it's just gonna stay the same. Fantasia looked like she did great, so I'm assuming you have not seen it, Nicole. That's all right. We are here to break it down. Val is in the house. I'm so happy you're here as well. Hey, Tyra, YouTube doing its jobs today. Got my notification. She got a notification, y'all. Y'all don't even know. Thank you so much for being here, Val. Okay, waiting room music, right? Movie Bay. Y'all go check out Movie Bay. Wasn't it like, I almost forgot where I was for a second. Let's see. This is me watching The Color Purple, watching the review. I already know, Nikki, you ain't checking out nothing Color Purple. But now that we got all the pleasantries out the way, as soon as I bring this man to the screen, just take your butt on over there and subscribe to his channel and support. Because when you hear what he has to say, and I had to deter myself from watching his review because I want his little unsolicited opinion fresh right here with y'all. So I have no clue what he's going to say, but I'm sure it's going to be tasty. Welcome to the stage, Mr. D Movie Man.
Thank you so much, Tyra. Thank you. Thank you to everyone in the chat, everyone at home. Happy holidays. Nothing but love. Happy to be here. Excited because we have more than a few thoughts to share on this one.
Whew, like, Dee, before we even jump into anything, thank you so much for being here. You know I appreciate you, and we always have a really good time.
Yes.
But before we just, jump on in, I want you to give the people a little bit of history that you have with the movie. Because I remember telling you, as soon as this movie dropped, Dee, you better make a thumbnail. They got all your little list of, hey, this is why you should be watching my video, because I know what I'm talking about. Give the people a little bit of what's going on, Dee.
So, well, first, shout out to everyone. This is D Movie Man, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And that is the crux of what I do here on YouTube. I love films. I love discussing all things related to film and the occasional TV show recap. And when it comes to the color purple, I have a fairly extensive history with it. So I've basically have had some experience with every iteration of the story. It has been adapted 4 times. So I have read Alice Walker's novel. I have seen the Broadway adaptation back in 2006. Didn't see the revival, but I saw the original version. And then I am now seeing this new iteration for actually prior to Christmas Day. And I got to see, surprisingly, it was a shock, but I got to see an advanced screening of it. And yes, it was a very layered experience, shall we say.
And I'm sure you've seen the 85 Steven Spielberg version, because,
Oh, completely skipped that. Yes, I've also seen that version. Yes.
But no, I have been very surprised to learn about so many people. Like, not only have I not seen it, but I have no desire to watch it just based off of the subject matter. Like, I don't want to see that. I was like, well, I just thought this was, black card carrying member movie, and I thought we all had to watch it. Right. But I completely understand. Super chat in the house already. Thank you so much, Bree. Wants to show some love. Now bye. No spoilers for me. That's all that matters. That's all that matters, B. I was surprised. I was like, Bree's here. I thought you said, like, thank you so much for showing me love, Bree. I appreciate that. That's love too. She said bye. Thank you so much, Bree, for the super chat. But yeah, I really wanted to get you here because I know that you got into the Broadway situation. I have never checked for that. I never saw any of that. Never even really just cared to look into it at all. But I did, read. I can remember reading the book like 7th grade.
Right.
No, don't ask me why. It was next to the Zane novels, but clearly 7th grade was a very, very long time ago for me. So this is going to be really, really a reflection situation for the both of us, because I have no clue what you're going to say, and you may be like, Tyra, you're so wrong. I thought this, that, and that. But before we jump into that, one more. Lost in the Real. Oh, I see what this is. So you mean tell me D had to come over here for you to cross the street over to the Struggle Reviews? I love you anyway, Sean. I ain't seen you, Sean. Love you too. Although I think the whole ensemble was great, Taraji was the real standout for me. I'm so sad she hasn't been getting more love. I'm absolutely sad about that too. Standout for me, completely different person. But thank you for the super chat, Sean. I can't wait. Like, I just can't even contain it anymore. I'm gonna go ahead so we can dive on in and give the people what they came here to see. Remember to hit that like button. If we can get 100 or more people in here, that would be absolutely awesome. In 3 words, D, can you describe how you felt about this movie?
Ooh. Okay. Yes. Not quite there.
Oh. I didn't even know you was gonna go like. He came outside swinging, and it's just, it's early. He fighting already. I would say beautiful, almost indifferent. That's where I am. But hey, it sounded like we in the same boat. But who was your favorite character, and what was your favorite scene?
Ooh, I would say, for me personally, I have to say Daniel, like, out of everyone, and not to say that everyone wasn't bringing something to this, but there was just an honesty and a more just kind of raw something that she just had in her performance. She was the one I was most connected to. And I understand, like, Sophia in a lot of ways is a very memorable character, but I feel like she managed, even though you saw traces of the original iteration of Sophia, there was something about her performance, especially with the emotions, that really like packed a punch. And that was more so what I connected to as I was watching this. As far as my favorite scene, I have to say honestly, the opening with Mysterious Ways and Huckleberry Pie, that took me down. And not to say there weren't other good scenes, but it's just like, as someone who obviously saw that on the stage, the way that they recreated that for the big screen, you know, cinematically, it just was like, okay, I think I'm in this. I'm in this. If I had any worries, this kind of, at least for the moment, this is taking those worries away. It felt like I was kind of having that experience all over again.
Cool. I feel like you still in my stuff because Danielle was my girl. I was here for Tasty. I was here for Tasty. Like, Danielle Brooks did an awesome job. She was the standout for me. Like, I love Danielle here, and she was my favorite. And personally, nobody else came close. Sorry. Nobody else came close. And I felt like personally she was carrying this movie on her back. But we'll get, you know, more into that. And as far as my favorite scene, because you know I ain't listened to a song or nothing. I have not looked at anything that had to do with the Broadway musical. So everything here, I was hearing it for the first time. I did do a lot of my homework to be here. Y'all know I'm gonna do my notes. And I saw that I think 13, maybe more songs were removed from this that were actually a part of the real musical, and they also incorporated some new stuff, but I don't know what's new and what's old. But my favorite scene was think is She's Mine. Is it she's mine, or she's be mine, or one of those. But when we have Celie, you know, realize like, oh, is that Olivia? And she goes, and it's the waterfall, and they're washing the clothes, and the whole thing there was just absolutely beautiful. So that was my favorite scene right off the bat. That was the thing that captured me to be like, oh, like it made me sit up, because you know it take a little bit to make you girl sit up. But I was like, oh, this is so nice. This looks so nice. This is, you know, it was a beautiful transition. So that was my favorite. But yes, we are in the same boat when it comes to Miss Danielle Brooks. I just thought she was great. But getting into everything we've seen, the many adaptations. Of course, we have The Color Purple book by Alice Walker. We have the movie from 1985. We have the Broadway musical. And now we have this situation. Did we need this, Dean?
So technically, I would say from a technical standpoint, no. I think there was an opportunity for it to kind of prove that it was necessary, as far as it recapturing the stage musical experience for people who obviously couldn't see it during its initial run. And then obviously I don't think that's, you know, they don't have it available. I don't think it's, you know, it's not like it's streaming anywhere. So I can appreciate the fact that that experience, you know, that being technically replicated on the big screen. So I think from that standpoint, that's why I was excited, because it's like, hey, it's been years since I've seen this, and just like seeing having the familiarity with the storytelling through the music and the choreography and all that. I think there was an opportunity for this to be a retelling, and, you know, just showcasing that experience to people who weren't able to experience it that way.
Absolutely. I think everybody initial's response was like, no. Everybody was like, no. And I went into this with the cleanest slate I could possibly. I didn't go in trying to compare it at all to the 1985 situation. I really wanted to give this movie a fair chance, because initially I was like, why? Right. You know, why? There are I love this comment here from freaking where are you, Meg? Talking about where's the 5 iterations of autobiography.
Oh my God.
You did it. Like, there are I think collectively, because I know everybody equates this. A lot of people haven't seen this. I was so surprised. Is it about slaves? Is this another slave movie? Some of the behaviors, yeah, but you know, at heart, no, it's not a slave movie. But just these are those Oscar baity, like, time period piece movies that we get every year. And it would just be nice to get something different. I'm just like, when we gonna get into Garrett and, you know, his traffic light, or Carver in the Peanuts? Somebody, anybody. anything else instead of us either going towards, a remake situation or us doing more slave movies. So I think everybody was really, really reluctant on that front, but I did in all try to give this movie a fair chance. D, what would you like to see more of? And we're going to stick it to the time period because they love to give a good period piece to give us a little Oscar bait. But as far as like a period piece involving a all black cast, what would you like to see?
Oh man. Not to like honestly, I would like to see like Black Wall Street or to see the experience of free Black people in Europe or like in other countries. Because the thing is, there are a lot of people who don't recognize that, to quote Candy Burris, we worldwide. You know what I'm saying? We're everywhere. And I think some of us, grow up thinking, our experience is only limited to, the Black American experience when there's so much beyond that. And even my own family, I have some ancestry in Germany. So I've had a lot of awareness of what that looks like. And I just want to see stories, even if it does take place. Back in the day, I want to see like anything that highlights the changes and the strides and really that highlights our building of community, in these kind of remote places or just in, just us building it, as time has gone on. One thing I that comes to mind for me also is what was that? Darn, am I blanking? I was thinking of one example, like Their Eyes Are Watching God, and how Edenville was like the Black, like the first, became its own town. It grew into we see it as these little huts and these little shacks, and it grows, and we see the mayor, we see this thriving, town. And one thing also, that was the other film I was thinking of, like Eve's Bayou. Everyone has so many different thoughts on Eve's Bayou, but one thing I appreciate about Eve's Bayou is that it takes place in the 1950s. And it has nothing to do with civil rights, nothing to do with discrimination, racism. It is simply about this thriving Black community in New Orleans, in Louisiana, and that's the crux of it. So I think a big part of it is that also.
Ditto. Absolutely. I always say, like, I would love to get into Tulsa before, the white woman and before it, got burnt down and all that. Like, we always get depictions, but we get the horror of it. We don't ever get to just see it thriving. I think we all would love to see that, and I think they need to make that happen instead of us kind of feeling a little stuck. But leaving this, I just want y'all to know I gave this a very, very fair shot and went in with absolutely no expectations. But here, I wanted to start off because I'm gonna be nice. We're gonna start off with some stuff we liked. Some stuff that I like. Mr. Blitz, the ambassador, aka the director. This was beautiful direction. When I went to look him up, I was like, all right, y'all trying to be cute. I don't see many credits. I don't see a lot of credits. Black is King is that, and I think it was the burial of Kojo, something that I haven't had the opportunity to watch. I had seen the Beyonce's Black is King, but there wasn't anything to just go like, he's gonna do it, all right. So I went in like, let me see what it's giving. This was beautiful. Oh my goodness. D, like, how did you feel about the art direction, the set design, the costume, like everything was just really, really on point. And just like you said, with Their Eyes Were Watching God, like the set just felt really lived in and fully realized. And I felt a little Daughters of the Dust when they were going over that little Georgia Beach situation. I was like, oh, I like this. I really, really like this. But how did you feel about the direction from Blitz and just the likes of involvement of Oprah and Steven Spielberg, Quincy Jones on the back end, everybody coming back together once again?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to Blitz, I thought that was easily like that was the biggest standout for me. And even when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's just like, obviously, we're going to see technically some things that are different, but still, like, just the imagery that I saw in the trailer, I was like, all right, like not what I was expecting at all. Even when we, like, one of the opening shots of the trailer, I believe, is Celie and Nettie running out on the beach, like you said. And it was like that itself. And then, the shots of the waterfall and just all these, just the imagery was just so impactful and so beautifully done. And the thing is, the original Color Purple, it has a distinct vision, and it's more grounded, it's more gritty. In some ways it's more muted, and we have moments where we see the colors burst out. But it has taken a more grounded, gritty approach, whereas this is more so like, hey, let's explore what this town looks like, what this city looks like, what
this is glamorous.
Yeah. And also, that's what I also love. We got a greater expansion on the town, like when we see them rolling through the town to the movie theater, and we just see like just how this presumably, I'm assuming it's a Black town or a Black city, but just seeing everyone thriving within this place, and just how, I don't know, how just vibrant and distinct and just memorable. I could not really take my eyes, and there were so many kind of intricate details, even as I was watching, that made me appreciate that. And also tying back into what we said about seeing stories that show us in our communities genuinely thriving. So that's something I also appreciated.
Yeah, everybody was a little shoddy, Alfonso, but it was business owners, black business owners all up and through this little town. Right. Do you feel like this will get rewarded? Because our OG Color Purple, it was snubbed all the way up and round through in every single way possible. Do you feel like any of our cast members or the director will walk away with any type of awards?
Hopefully this is already kind of like starting to get awards buzz, and it was released right in the in the middle, and right at the perfect time to to go through the Oscar campaign and such. I hope it does get, if nothing else, I'm sure it'll be more, but I would definitely love to see more technical awards, because I think it definitely deserves it for that. And I would, at the very least, like to see something for Danielle Brooks, because like I said, she really brought it for me. And not having seen her during the revival, it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm getting, but yeah, she brought everything that I might have missed seeing on stage here.
All right, let me read some of these comments. Y'all, D and I, thank you so much to the 115 people that are here. Thank you so much. Hitting that like button, y'all. Come on through. I will be trying to read some comments, but y'all, I would not be engaging as much as usual because we have a lot of stuff to get through. So if you really, really want your stuff to be seen, child, attach 99 cents to it and somebody, but I'm going to read a few of them. Let's see. Built by creatives. This films looked like it was filmed on a soundstage, even Mister's house. Everything seems so crammed as far as spacing. They needed to film on a location in a real house in a real town. Oh, you wanted that color purple. Yeah, that it doesn't feel as wide open spaces as the original, but I did appreciate what they were able to do in that small space. But yeah, Mrs. House was not as grand as it is in the OG version. Let's see. It was giving Shaq. Right. The cinematography was beautiful. It absolutely was. Let's see what y'all talking about. Hello, Nita. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Shanice, I see you too, girl. I see. I remember as a kid being afraid of Danny Glover the first time I saw the movie. How could they turn it into a musical? Truly, the end of days. So we're going to talk about that also. Hello, did you see that? Thank you so much for being here. Let's see, 99 people watching, only 51 likes. Come on, people, show these guys some love. Thank you so much. Like, oh, they be stingy. They be so stingy. But yes, moving more into, hold on. Come on, Super Chat. Come on outside. Thank you so much, Dane. I'm mixed about the color purple. Haven't seen the new one, but Alice Walker has shown herself to be, what the... Since when? Against what? I mean, are you talking about just a depiction of the black man in the I mean, it is what it is. If you have read the books, the book has so much more context, in my opinion, than we do get in the 1985 version when it comes to the men, especially when we get into Mr. and characters like Harpo. But, I would look into everything. I felt like the depiction in the movie weighed way more heavier than we initially got in the book. Even though it's super heavy in the book, when you take away all the context and we just get fist, then it gives you a whole different feeling. And people
Right.
ain't like Danny Glover since the 80s. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Thank you guys so much for those super chats. I really, really, really appreciate it. But getting into this here, more stuff we like, because we're gonna be cute at first. I had not seen any Broadway anything. I didn't want to spoil anything, but the opening, I was like, oh, y'all singing.
Right.
The opening where it's just like a 6-minute run through of, Mysterious Ways with Tamala, Take Me to the King. I was like, oh, this is totally different. When I tell you, I was like, what they doing in the tree? Where's the monkey that at? What
Right.
is no monkey that here? They took that out and changed it to something else. Like, I thought that they kept certain things that were so synonymous with the film. I expected just to see them here. Like, I expected them to be in the Broadway musical. There is no Maki Dada here, y'all. They're saying something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But I did really, really appreciate just all of these sets once again in the really grand opening. The moments that this movie musical did decide to be its own distinctive things, I felt like it worked so well. And it was this, Loki got my hopes up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This got my hopes up because I was like, oh, if we're coming out the gate like this, I can expect to look forward to so much more of it not being the 1985 version. And I'll tell you how I felt, moving on later. But then how did you feel about those settings and that grand opening that we get? I just felt like it set the tone for, baby, this ain't 1985.
Yes. Like I said, that was easily one of my favorite scenes, and there were others that I enjoyed, but it was, like I said, it was a perfect way to really, and of course it's different because, of course, it was also like an additional appreciation because, like I said, I've seen this on the stage, and this just took that and elevated. Even the tone, and one thing I noticed is that even with some of the songs in this version, like the instrumentation is different, and sometimes they lean into more swing, more bluesy. Even with this song, it's very similar, but they get more into the dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Like, the original song is more. Like, it's still there, but it takes time to ramp up. It's kind of like dun, 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 dun. Like, it's more like that. Whereas this,
Tamala had me about to put my finger up, and I was about to go to an old church in the back real quick.
Exactly. And as soon as to the Lord, and then it was just like dun, dun, and we just started. So I thought that was such a great way to just kind of set the scene and just bring us into this immediately, and not even just kind of really build up. It was kind of like, okay, we had like a little build up with the, in the hands and them standing up the trees, which I thought was beautiful. But yeah, the way we just get pulled into it immediately, I appreciated it. Once
again, you guys coming through with the super chats. Built by Creative said, thank you so much for pulling up with the 2020 twin. Y'all know I appreciate it. Let's see, how can they tell us not to compare the film to the 1985 version? 85% of the film was a remake. They just used some of the music from the musical. Built by Creative said, I can't wait. Oh Lord. Example, in the play, Sophia doesn't even go to jail, and there's no Miss Millie. Oh really? Oh, we gonna talk, Bill. Whoa! Oh really? I did not know that, but thank you so much for that super chat. I really, really appreciate it, and we gonna get into all of that. But I didn't know that. Just hold on, D, because we're going to get into that. Like, those are the things that I was anticipating. I thought that this was going to be so, so different. And since Built by Creative's gone and put it out outside in the world, this is not what I expected. This is not what I expected. I thought this was going to be so different and stray so far from that 1985 version. And I was like, oh, this is familiar. This is familiar. And then by the time we got to a certain space in the movie, it just felt like we were hitting beats and adding songs. I was like, is this, I didn't know how to take it away, but if you want to get into this 85% that Built by Creatives left us here, how much of this movie is play Broadway situation and how much is just, Whoopi Goldberg in them, in your opinion?
Run that back one more time, just so I can
In
gather.
your opinion, from seeing that play
Mhm,
and seeing the 1985 one with Whoopi Goldberg,
mhm.
this movie here, how much of this is really that distinctive Broadway musical, and how much of this is the 1985 version of the
A
movie?
lot more of it is the 1985 version, which was a huge issue for me personally. Now,
Mm,
the thing is, I understand it would be technically difficult, depending on how
mhm.
you choose to interpret, because that's what it comes down to: direction. How do you choose, and adaptation? How do you choose to adapt something? How do you choose to envision that? How do we, there are so many ways to do that. I'll even say when it comes to musicals, I would say Chicago. We all grow up watching Sesame Street, Barney,
Yes.
Mary Poppins, Disney, all that kind of stuff. But Chicago was the film that really made me appreciate movie musicals, because I understood they were getting into the head of this character, having dreams of vaudeville, and just kind of drawing this parallel between this corrupt city and this law system, justice system, all that, and then this glitter and glamour and these dreams of the stage. And then, like, once it clicked, I was like, oh, I get it. And then it made me appreciate musicals in a deeper way,
Yeah.
and in a more adult way, I should say. And so I understand that, and I can appreciate that. I just think that the choice to just replicate so much of what was already present in the 1985 film, literally some of the
Mhm.
same choices, because even the 1985, the Broadway musical, the stage musical, is technically more faithful to the original novel than the 1985 film is. There's a lot there that's already, that is accurate, but there are some specific changes that are made.
Ooh, D,
And
don't you? You just trying to
particularly,
you trying to disappoint me. I had not seen it, and I didn't want to do any homework until we talked. I
right.
felt that. I felt that while watching it. I
Mhm.
was like, there is so much uh in the best way possible. This made me want to go watch the actual musical. I wanted to go like, where is it showing, and when they gonna show it again? Like, I wanted to see it for myself, because I was like, there is something missing here. I don't know what made them go the route of trying to mix it. Maybe they didn't think that they would reach the core, the Color Purple lovers, if they didn't try to tack on so many familiar things. But I was here for the different. Like, I thought with them, like, they were very, oh, this isn't a remake. This is, something totally different. So I just knew that I was going to be diving into all of those things from the novel that we didn't even touch on in 1985 with this movie. And the fact that we didn't, it was really, really disappointing. But we
Yeah.
didn't got all. We didn't got all. We supposed to be talking about the stuff we liked. Yo,
The chat is throwing us off.
we're supposed to be talking about the stuff we like. Let's get into Fatima Robinson, 1900s, but make it hoochie coochie. I was here for the choreography. I love me some Fatima. Fatima has been dancing like since I can remember, like choreographing and doing everything for everybody, like for so long. So the fact that she is still in these streets and breaking stuff down the way that she did here, the choreography felt very period appropriate, but it also felt modern. It was giving Twerk City a couple of times, and I was here for throwing that ass in a circle.
Of
What
course.
about you, D? What about you, D?
Oh man. Yes, I did appreciate the choreography. I will say again, having seen the stage musical, some of the adjustments were a little off-putting at first.
Yes.
And the style of dancing in some ways was a little bit like in a good way, and in a just a different way. I won't say anything that was bad, but
Mhm.
some of it was very sped up, and I
Mhm.
didn't really have as much time to kind of like, you don't. For me, I didn't get as much time to kind of like sit in some of everything was kind of like, hey,
Yeah.
and like really speeding it up, which is not a bad
Oh,
thing.
like the whole movie, because yeah, we already spoiled it anyway. Like, a lot of the movie was and next scene, and I was like, why are we going so fast?
Yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. So I love the choreography, like even like the how the choreography flowed with some of the visual choices, like when Shug hits the light at the juke joint, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden you see everybody
Yeah,
getting
all the
there.
silhouette. I was like, okay, yes.
Yes. And so yeah, so I think it's impressive. I think it's, obviously well thought out. I will say there were times though I wanted to kind of like sit in some of the choreography, or just kind of lean into some of it without it being so like, like
Chaotic,
wait. So
chaotic. It was a wonderful spectacle, but I wanted to see and bask in the spectacle also. But with them being so consumed, it was a lot of these things were rushed, and I'm going to get into what was really rushed for me, and I would have preferred to sit there. But y'all better sing. The singing here was great. Like, I think a lot of us, myself, I will forget in a heartbeat that Taraji P. Henson can sing a note. I don't know how old I was, and I was like, oh, when she was in I Could Do Better All By Myself, that was her. I thought she was lip syncing this whole time. I thought she was lip syncing. Like, it was her being able to carry a tune and vocal wise hold her own here with the likes of Danielle Brooks and Fantasia, who were in the Broadway musical, of course, and kind of had time to play with and live in these characters for however long the show got to run. So to see Taraji here, we already knew Fantasia. I just was waiting for her to kick her shoes off, but this ain't that kind of movie. I was really here for seeing Fantasia like in this grand way. Like, weirdly, I'm not I was never like into American Idol or anything like that, or just I love Fantasia, but she's had a great career, but kind of like in a sense of like maybe an underdog, or just maybe hitting the bare minimum of where she could possibly hit. So to see her in such a grand way and have all of these eyes on her in this type of space, that was really, really great. And I thought everybody vocally did a good job. I put my little songs here that things that I love the most. I don't know what's new here or a song from the Broadway situation, but I put Hell No, because I said hell no. Hell no. I love the rendition of Hell No, She Be Mine, Push the Button, Miss Celie Pans in Mysterious Ways. What about you, D? How did you feel about the singing?
Yeah, those were definitely some highlights. She Be Mine was actually deleted from the original Broadway musical. It was going to be featured, but then they got rid of it. But then they they do workshopping and they decide what stays, what goes. And so they decided to get rid of it. And so for this, they brought it back. And definitely, because once she started, I was like, I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be this song. And it wasn't. And then I thought it was this song. I was like, what is this? And then that's when I realized it was, oh, this is the new song. But yes, I would say my second favorite after Mysterious Ways was Miss Celie's Pants. That was already a song I enjoyed from the musical, but just the way they got into the tap dancing and, like I said, the whole swing vibe of it, and just that being Celie's moment where she recognizes like, hey, like I'm really like in my bag. This is my moment. Look who's wearing the pants now. Like she is like, here we and yeah, it was such a great moment. And most of those songs, the other songs that you mentioned, I enjoyed. Actually, believe it or not, that was another one that threw me because I didn't know there was going to be new songs in this. But I enjoyed. I don't think it was "Keep It Moving." There was a different title for it, but I actually enjoy Young Nettie's song that Halle Bailey did with Felicia Pearl and Posse.
I think it is "Keep It Moving," because if y'all ain't ran down, the soundtrack situation on your Apple Music, go do that. It made me appreciate the songs even more, just listening to them in my own time. Let me read a couple of y'all comments. Let's see. Fantasia just needed better songwriters and producers in her career. Built by creatives really hated the fact that they got rid of Get Ready for the Big Dog. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure D does.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, in the trailer, when they showed Celie walking past the men, the prison gang, chain gang in the field, I thought that was Big Dog, actually, because that's the song where Celie first makes it to Mister's house. And you see all the men in the field basically working. If you think hard work been dogging you before, get ready for the big dog. And so basically it's her realizing that this is her life now, and all the men are kind of reinforcing what her life is going to be. Work, 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 work. So
they said ain't no men's is here. Keep It Moving and Working was new songs written for the film. Yes, Keep It Moving. D like Keep It Moving. Waiting for Fantasia to break into 3 a.m. in the Pancake House. Well, you know what? Stop, Mac. Stop. Fantasia was hot and cold in her career. Maybe not so much moving forward. Our girl was outside. Baby Tasia is going to sing down. I'm so glad she finally getting her flowers. Yes, absolutely. And let's see, Taraji's Howard degree was in music theater. I did not know that. That's good. It shows here. It shows here. I wish she, got more moments like this. But yes, Taraji did her thing. Everyone vocally was really, really great here. But moving forward, y'all.
Yes.
This here, I just want to get through like the stuff loud for good or bad. This is I put double stack cast. Everybody and their mama is in this film. I I don't go read any synopsis, go look at no cast. I just watched the movie. I was like, oh, everybody's here. Everybody's here. And I put for good or bad because we're about to like maybe get more into those bad things that I didn't like so much. After D maybe tells us some more of the stuff he loved. A stack cast can be good when we have time to flesh all of these people out and utilize them to their full capacity. If we stack it too much and we are short on time and something like a musical where we have to get those musical numbers in, sometimes it can be a double-edged sword and the movie can suffer for it. But everybody and their mama is here in this movie. How did you feel about the casting?
I felt two ways about the cast. I feel like there was a lot of talented people here, a lot of people I enjoy and appreciate in one way or another. I think personally, I think some of the casting felt like stunt casting, and that it was some of the casting was for the sake of the name versus what really served the role and the emotions of certain scenes. And like and it kind of depends, we can kind of go back and forth about who. But I will say, and I had to cut this out in my original review. I didn't want it to be too long. But I love David Alan Grier since, In Living Color, Boomerang, early 90s days, right? But it kind of threw me when I saw him as the Reverend because it was definitely giving me Leon Lonnie Love.
Everything's gonna be all right. Whoa, I got a feeling go moonwalk down the alley. D beat me to my slide, y'all. David Alan Grier was, and I'm not even going to put David Alan Grier in a box, even though we know him for more of his comedic talents. But if they would have, because I've seen him be dramatic also when need be, so he has that range, and he also comes from a Broadway background as well. He be on them stages too. If he has something to work with, it's there. Like, they gave David Alan Grier nothing here. They gave him nothing here. So as soon as you see him in the way that they have him performing vocally, is very reminiscent of Martin and, Kill My Mama Bird situation. And you don't want to be thinking about, those comedic situations when you are watching this. And for somebody who is supposed to be Shug Avery's father, like, what I love the most about that dynamic between Shug and her father in the 1985 version, that man barely has to say anything. It's all just emoting in his face and his emotion. Like, you just see the disdain and the desperation coming off of Shug, and you're longing for what she's longing for, and their relationship matters so much. That shit was non-existent here. Right. It was lost upon me here, and I was disappointed for it. Thank you so much to the 140 people in this chat. Keep hitting that like button and showing us some love. Like, that was just so terrible, but I didn't mean to go there. I didn't mean to go there, but I was really, this movie made me long to see the actual Broadway musical. It made me want to go watch the 1985 version, honestly. But let me keep going. Keep going. Anything else on this cast, D?
Yes. I was going to mention, then on the flip side, I had people who really surprised me, people I didn't know that were going to be in this. And I have to give Dion Cole his kudos because I didn't know he was going to be in this.
You trying to be cute on my slides? Hold up. You hold all the way up, D. Oh, Lord. I think it's after this, and we're going to get into these characters. But like this here, because I had to give it to my boy Dion. I was like, Dion, is that you? But let's get into this red lipstick. I did like this. This is something new. This incorporation of a different color. We do with me, when I think about the color purple, I think about, me and you, Maki Dada situation, them, giving their little sisterhood situation in the field with those beautiful purple flowers, and that scene with Shug, and, when you walk by, don't acknowledge the color purple, make God, all these good things. That's what I think about instantly. So for this new staple color of red, we have characters, not just, Celie, but Sophia and Shug wearing red. And it's not just so much, a Shug thing. It's a significance of, change or something bold, or just the lipstick. I just love the way that they use the color red. Anything else on this D?
No, all I'm going to say is that one thing I learned or kind of read, as far as me just reading The Color Purple, and I like doing looking at essays and deep dives and things. And I
Yeah.
saw something that said that basically, we look at The Color Purple and the fact that Shug is the one to reference that in the story and in the original film.
Yeah.
It's the fact that when we see her in red embodies passion and fire and boldness, and all of that, but then she's also someone who sings about the blues and her life reflects the blues. So she and herself, her life and her experiences, she is the color purple in the mixture of red and blue. And I was like,
that's
wow.
good. And you see that represented here well. I love that in the beginning. I think we only see Shug and Sophia in the colors of red, and then when Celie is in them fancy pants, she finally has on red and all that good stuff. It's not just on the lipstick; it was everywhere. I was here for that. But back to Dion Cole. Back to Dion Cole. Dion, is that you? Like, Paul, do not play with Dion. Dion is here first, getting into the cast members that I love and the performances that I love the most before we get into, the not so much situations for me. I don't know about D, but Dion did amazing as Alfonso here. When you have to look up to see, like, is this that person? If y'all slept on Dion before, don't ever do that. I put the average Joe here because if you want to see more of a dramatic performance for him, I also have a review up for this show. It's on BET Plus. Thank you. Thank you to the person who paid for it, because y'all know I wasn't checking for none on BET. But it made me look at him in a totally, different light. And I remember doing my review for that. And I was like, why y'all been hiding Dion? He, can be dramatic. He really has some different acting chops that he has not been able to explore. And I didn't know he was going to be in this movie. So when I see it, I was like, oh my God. It's Dion. But how did you feel about his performance? And once again, this is somebody doing a lot with a little bit of screen time, just so you know.
Exactly. Yeah, he shocked me because watching, I'm thinking this is a new actor, and it honestly wasn't until Mr. comes asking basically for Nettie's hand. Celie then becomes his unexpected wife and such and such. I looked and I leaned in. I was like, is it? Like, I really was like, is that literally did not see it. I mean, it's his face, and of course I'm used to him with more facial hair, but it just like the demeanor, like all of it. I'm like, and I felt the intimidation. And honestly, and this is not a knock on Coleman Domingo because I appreciated aspects of his performance, but I'm like, I think Dion Cole could have gone for Mr. Honestly,
he could have. How do we want him to do it? We want him to do it. I got a super chat. Oh, there is a super chat up here. Thank you so much, TG, for that 99-cent super chat. I appreciate you guys so much for showing love. Y'all know the struggle is real on this channel. It's just not in name only. It's the whole channel as a whole. So any love that you guys show, it touches my whole spirit. And y'all trying to y'all trying to be cute. Thank you so much, Build by Creatives. Let's see. Love Dion. They did him wrong, putting him in that casket with that 4X photo on top. See, now you're gonna make me run it back and go look at it. Exactly. Thank you so much for that $4.99 super chat. I absolutely love it. Was Dion in blackface? He was not. I think it seemed like they for a portion of the movie they were kind of showing him in shadows, so you weren't really sure. So when you actually saw him, it was like, oh, China's Dion Cole, and he is doing a superb job. But I could definitely see me getting into him as Mr. I could definitely, but getting into more people that I loved here, because I don't want to just keep it at Danielle Brooks, because child, that's where it was for me. She's here again. I said hell no. But Felicia Pearl, I want to spend so much more time with her. Yes. I love her. I don't know if is she from the musical?
Oh no, she actually I saw where she had talked about how she had auditioned for the musical, for the original musical, auditioned for the revival, auditioned for this for adult Celie, and none of that worked out, and then she ended up getting cast as young Celie.
Wow, like I could definitely no splice to Fantasia. I could see her as adult Celie. I could, with what Celie is supposed to represent, because I love Fantasia, but Fantasia is a whole woman. I was having a hard time. I was being distracted about all of the ass in the dress. I was like, all right, it's only so many aprons y'all can put over Fantasia's ass. You can't hide that under no 1900s moo-moo's, child. It's gone. All the titties and the body yaddy is gonna always body on Fantasia. But I'm gonna be cute for y'all and just try not to look at it. But all of that was there. So just getting into the age that Celie was supposed to be. And Fantasia looked like she was living in her womanhood, and like, Mist, I wish you would. I slap you with these titties, then back that ass up on you. That's just where I was. I'm sorry. But y'all laughing down here because y'all know I'm telling the truth. Like,
Lord.
I was so distracted, D. I was like, child, what y'all really trying to be cute and keep us from noticing all of this stuff on Fantasia. But I could definitely see her in the role, because I enjoyed her so much for the little time that we got her, and I thought she did so well, like just her acting and emoting with her entire body. And I was like, I don't know her, but I really, really like her. And I was like, oh, I forgot that we're not, going through this entire journey with her. We're going to have her age and, get Fantasia. But I did like her. These two were actually my favorites. What about you, D?
Yeah, I would say they were definitely standouts. I'll actually give which I wouldn't have probably said that. I actually thought Halle Bailey, surprisingly, did a good job as Nettie. Definitely a better job than The Little Mermaid, which is not necessarily a knock on her, because I thought The Little Mermaid had a lot of issues. I know they were trying, but I had some issues with that. But I felt like, even just I'm basing this off of the scene where Mr. is following her, and she has that kind of that tete-a-tete back and forth. I was like, okay, I like this, as opposed to the more soft-spoken Nettie we got in the last one. I'm like, I kind of like that interaction.
Film creators, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat, because maybe she could sweep out the caboose. The caboose was in Fantasia's dress. It was, though. It really it absolutely was. Oh Lord, let's see. Aaron Jones said, how do you feel about the Whoopi cameo? Personally, I was like, y'all could have kept that. It wasn't significant enough for me to go like, oh, this was a really great way to use Whoopi with the importance that she has to the film. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. What about you, Dave?
I mean, I didn't hate it. I wasn't expecting it. So, I mean, I was like, oh, okay. But I will say, like, it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't significant. And I think personally, they could have done the same way. Because one thing I did like about this is that I liked how they kind of paid tribute to the legacy of the musical by having Fantasia, who was on the original Broadway run after LaShawne's, and then obviously Danielle Brooks, who was in the revival. And I think they could have done, and then having these new actors and actresses also. But I think they could have also like had more, featured, people from either the 1985 film or from the original musical cast. I think that's something we could have actually gotten.
Yeah, when I saw Whoopi, I was like, "Ooh, who else here?" And I was like, "Oh, it was just Whoopi." Yeah. it was just Whoopi, but we should have known when they only used her to that capacity. Thank you so much, TG, for that 99-cent super chat. You know how I feel about you. Thank you so much. Definitely needed that thing was thangin'. Literally could have kept that. Definitely could have kept the cameo situation, but I just felt like we traveled so much with Sophia, and I just felt like I really got to live in Danielle's character and just grow with her and really even adapt to some of the changes that they made with Sophia. I thought she did a really great job transitioning through the scenes into the songs, and Danielle was just my favorite. She was just my favorite, and I wish we could have spent a little bit more time with Felicia, but it's okay. But we were never when I seen this, I was like, what? PG, The Color Purple, PG-13. I was like, oh, I don't need to know nothing else. I don't need to know anything else. And I understand, we know they all about the dollar and trying to reach every little demographic. Oh, y'all can bring everybody to see this movie. This movie was at a disadvantage automatically because it was PG freaking 13. Why? When they said that, I was like, oh, this is not going to be a book deep dive, which is what I thought. I thought it was going to be the musical deep dive version of the book. This was not at all of that. Like, I was really disappointed to see them go the PG-13 route. I do commend them for what they were able to show and do with the rating, but trash decision. What about you, D?
Yeah, because see, the thing, I even mentioned that too. I was like, the thing is, because I had an issue with how a certain element of the story was handled, but I'll say that in the meantime. But yeah, the book is very much in your face as far as the language and scenes that are depicted. I had forgotten some of the things that I mean, literally like the first couple of pages, you know, Celie references, you know, what Alfonso does, you know, in that, you know, first unfortunate encounter, but there's references to, you know, to PUSOY and you know, and other words, and it's very frank and it's very like, it's not sanitized. And especially when it comes to Shug and Celie, that definitely is not, that whole dynamic is definitely not PG-13. I had already said that I recalled like a specific reference to Soap Suds, and also the whole, you know, push the button piece, which was a really interesting way of reinterpreting it for the Broadway musical, because it's really everything she told Celie about the button and what it looks
you talking
like.
about the button? I was waiting for them to put that mirror down there.
Right?
I really was. I knew we weren't going to do that. I think everybody was anticipating the like consummation or the stamp, like, oh, they was getting down. It's nothing, you know, ambiguous about it. Even though we know that there is a genuine love there, like in the book, it's no mistaking that Shug was going both ways, child. Like very respectfully, like very much, you know, a woman of that time exploring every ounce of her sexuality with whomever, whenever she wanted to. That is not going to be here for PG-13. The relationship that Shug has with Celie is so important to the relationship that she has with Mister, especially later on. I wanted to see some of that. That's what I wanted to see, and this really felt like a freaking missed opportunity because we wanted to be PG-13 and keep it cute and get all the coins. It made me upset. It made me upset. Thank you, Polly from the Latino Slant. Thank you. A whole woman, you say? Yes, a whole woman. Thank you so much for that $1.99. Polly, thank you. Y'all go check out Polly over there on the Latino Slant. This was such like, I'm gonna get it. If y'all didn't know, this is the stuff I didn't like. I'm gonna get into more with the slides, what I really wanted to explore with certain characters, and what I felt like them giving it a PG-13 situation, it really did a disservice to the movie overall. Like, it was so trashy. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, and I'm tying this into rap-ish, that's what I'm calling it, but for the stream. But you know, I've been following the series, and after and I have to say, I knew we weren't gonna get anything like this, but I'm not gonna lie, because you know, we have our conversations about your appreciation of the down and dirty and TV and movies. So when it came for Chastity's big moment, I was like, wow. Chastity has made her way to Sorrow's kitchen and licked the pot clean. Shout out to Big Mama's house. And I was like, man, now obviously we weren't going to go there, but I was kind of like, it, like the thought of it, I was like, because that scene was intense. I must say, I wasn't mad at it.
They weren't.
So, but the thing is, even if you are trying to keep it PG-13, you can still like allude to it without being X-rated or graphic, and just the fact that they. And to me, even the way that it was filmed, like in silhouette and shadow and pulling away, I'm like, that is literally the opposite. Like, and to me, in 2023, 1985, we kind of understand. And even to me, as limited as the depiction was in 1985, to me, there was more intimacy and more something there, even with that limited, depiction. than it was here. I'm like, how is it 2023 and we can't get what's going on?
Yeah, just subtle things like them framing the camera around Shug's hands, touching Celie's hands, and just her gazing into her eyes and just talking to her directly. And there was just so much passion there, and it didn't really, just have to be spoken. They thought they were, going above and beyond. Like, I'm like, yeah, but this is cute. This is, these are beautiful. And I'm going to get into it with Shug slides, but we more so focus on the infatuation of Shug. Like, everybody loves Shug. Shug is just so beautiful. And oh, this woman. But when we get into the sexual part and the relationship part, we still leave that on the ground. Like, why? And I see y'all coming for me talking about I'm on some After Dark situation. In this chat, y'all know I'm here for an After Dark situation. But I knew we weren't going to get that. But even in the way that I appreciate it, because I was like, I don't know how they're going to go with all the abuse that takes place here, especially on Mister's part. How are we going to incorporate that? Even the grape scene, when she first arrives to the house, the way that the camera transitions, from the bed to the picture, and we kind of insinuated without having to. I was like, oh, okay, I can get with this. I wonder what they're going to do with Shug and Celie. Oh, we just gonna dance on the record and have her, which was graphic. Like, there were times in this movie where I was like, okay, this is great, but this is giving me style over substance. This is awesome shooting. This is wonderful to look at. I love her in the suds in the tub and the record spinning, and Celie just being completely enamored of all things Shug. But we wanted some intimacy too, and I didn't feel like we got a whole lot of that. It just felt like, oh, this is my friend. We sleep in the bed together sometimes, but I'm strictly dickly. That's what it felt like. Yeah. That's what it felt like in so many words. But I got another super chat here. Thank you guys so much. Built by creators for that $4.99 super chat. What driving school did Miss Millie go to before picking up Sophia? That man attacked me. Like, I would have. Oh, if Miss Millie was not in the Broadway situation, then what is there? What is Sophia's obstacle there? If it's not her being arrested for, I said hell no.
Well, that's still there. It's just not this big. It's kind of like, because even in the book, Celie is writing and she's referencing, after, writing and referencing what has happened kind of after the fact and recounting the story. So it's kind of the same thing. From what I remember, I feel like they show like Sophia sitting in a chair in silhouette, and it still happens, but but it's not like a big scene. It's like more so it's being referenced and what the circumstances are going to be as far as Sophia and, the conversation between her and Nettie about the things that have taken place.
Dane, I'm so sorry for skipping your super chat. Thank you so much, Dane. Now I'm mad Tyra didn't include booty pics. No, I did not include any pictures of Fantasia's booty. Like, y'all know I'll do it, but we professional today. This is the color purple. This is not rap stuff. I ain't capturing them images like that. I had to get these. It ain't a lot of things out for this show, okay? But that I really missed that. But getting, because child, we will. It's so much to discuss here, but we want to keep y'all here forever. Moving on to this here. Lacking in wasted potential. You ain't gonna be using me to sing on hooks. What I look like, Patti LaBelle or something? That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw Anjanou Ellis. Now, I love me some Anjanou. Baby, I set up. I was like, oh, she's here. If they have Anjanou Ellis here, that means we are going to tap more into that book and not just straight up, start the film with Celie's mother already passing away and get these scenes and moments with the mother. How dare? How dare y'all waste why would y'all bring her for this little cameo situation? I was so excited to see her, D. They got my hopes up thinking that we were going to dive into other situations in the book with the mother.
Right.
And just how she would even end up with the likes of Alfonso and, the history of what happened there and just the mental state she may have been in for certain places, certain things to take place within the home, But no, we just got, you ain't just going to be using me to sing on the hook. What you think I am, Patti LaBelle or something? Like, y'all just really brought me here for this cameo.
Right.
Ditto for what I said about, what we discussed about David Alan Grier. Lou Gossett did not do anything for me here. And I needed him to do something for me here because Mister's father is probably like one of my favorite characters from
Listen.
Child, like, and respect to Mr. Lugasa. He has had a really, really great career, but
Okay.
he is a man of a certain age. I think he's almost 90, if I'm not mistaken, and he is to be respected. But just that huspa, and it's crazy. Alfonso, another Alfonso,
Mhm.
Alfonso Caesar gives us in 1985. A lot of the quotes that I will quote down or are from him. So when I saw The Father, I was like, what is it giving? And then it was just like, oh, he's just there in name only to say that, oh, Lou Gossett was here in the role. And I was just really expecting to get some. And my name ain't Squeak. My name Mary. Mary what, girl? If you don't sit there, like, I was waiting. I was waiting to get into, some of those moments. You're sitting at the head of your own dinner table and you acting like a waiter. I wanted some of that. But we didn't get any of that from Lou Gossett. And he was just here in name only. And I really felt like it was wasted potential. But how do you feel about these three people, D?
Yeah, it's just like there are I just feel like there are so many emotional layers within the book. And there are so many things that can be explored that we obviously did not see in the 1985 film, and especially because Mr. Caesar from the first film, I mean, you will never Miss Celie, you has my sympathy. You just.
Not many women allow their husbands hold a lip in their house. Like, come on outside. I'll be here for it, D.
Yeah, I paused because I was hoping you were gonna jump in, and you did. So yes. Yes, but yeah, that's like that. He is an iconic part of that film. He's not even in it that much, but he's so memorable. And then with Mama, that was such a wasted opportunity because her backstory is incredibly tragic. Like what ends up happening between her and Nettie and Celie's father, all that. And I'm not saying we were going to get a whole explorer, but like it's easy to kind of touch on that or get some idea of how their lives were shaped.
Think Holly Berry and Queen, what happened to her and her little mental state was gone.
Right.
Put that on on their mother and you'll get that's what we're missing out on, her being fraud and being pretty much used and taken advantage of at her most vulnerable moment, like with a man like Alfonso, and he was able to move and infiltrate her life and do what he did to her daughters. So I thought we were going to get that, and that was very freaking disappointing.
Yep.
Anything else for any of these people here, D?
No, that's pretty much it.
Rolling over into more wasted potential, and y'all might love them because even before we leave Lou Gossett, I thought with his character being a little bit more demure in the way it's presented, even though we know he's an a-hole. I was like, oh, are they going to like maybe incorporate Mr. Sister from the book and her maybe being the only one to show, are we going to use this moment to explore some of the other characters from the book that, have some significance, but we've never seen them. Nope, it was just, Lou Gossett, as Martin would say. But let me keep going. I thought we was going to get some Kate. I think her name is Kate. But this here is also wasted potential for me. And I saw in the chat, a lot of you really, really loved Corey. I am so heated with how they keep doing Squeak. Squeak is so significant in the book. I was so hyped. I was like, okay, maybe this isn't in name only. I was like, okay, this is her, but maybe since it's her, they're going to give her something to do. She is, a celebrity. Maybe you're going to really, get to see her act and not, this here I juke joint, and then we don't never hear Squeak again. I thought we were going to explore, Squeak trying to go and, that bond she had with Sophia later on, helping, with the kids, trying to, go get Sophia out. And because Squeak was, I think she was biracial in the book and she kind of had more of, a white woman, maybe she could pass as far as appearance. And she goes to try to get Sophia out and she ends up being, assaulted and all those other good things. I thought we was going to actually hear Squeak do more than Squeak.
Right.
No, it was the same 1985. Why? I was so disappointed, D. Even if we didn't, just go through all of everything. I just really was hoping that we would see, because Squeak is very important.
Yes.
I always, go back to that 1985 version when Squeak goes, my name is Mary Agnes, and I'm going with Shug. And if you don't know anything about the book, you'll be like, why the hell is she going with Shug?
Right.
Why is this even a thing? But when you get into the book, you see how important she is to the dynamic of the women, and she's overcoming her very own obstacles and finding her voice as well. Even when we have this little moment here with this frame, and she's like, I thought I wanted to sing, and Shug's like, girl, get over there. I'll be here. What time do you need me to be here to sing? I was like, is she gonna have, a song? Is she nothing? Nothing. And getting into Corey Hardwick for me, I thought we would maybe lean a little bit more, just a little bit, into that really close relationship that he has with Celie. We did not. We did not. They were just here.
Yeah.
They were. D, what happened?
They said, "Hey, we got the names. We can just use these characters as wallpaper," and that's pretty much it. Just some window dressing. Yeah, like there again. I don't know if any of this comes down to runtime. That to me is not really a great excuse, because this film is like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Both the original film and the stage musical are 2 hours and 35 minutes. So if they were able to do what they did, surely with a few additional, with some extra time, we could have at least found some way to flesh all this out. And I feel like there's too much that happens, like you said, with Squeak, which is like probably one of the darker aspects and the more shocking aspects, for me reading that. And even her declaration of saying she's Mary Agnes and not Squeak comes after that moment.
Yeah.
And, it takes on a different significance. But she's very pivotal. And even like the how she and Sophia's relationship comes full circle, because she ends up taking Sophia's willing to take care of her her children when she's off the road. So it's a different kind of dynamic there. And then what it means for Harpo and Sophia, and how their relationship comes
back together
after all the things they've experienced. So but they were just here. Like they didn't really do anything. Like there were no scenes to really sit with them and understand, like how they developed, how they grew, what their journey was. That's just one.
Harpo has such a significant journey, trying his best and eventually overcoming the generational curses and those stronghold influences that the father and the grandfather have passed down to him as far as how he is supposed to behave. Just he and like Celie were really, really close. It was not so much, I don't want to say maybe sister brotherly, because they are of a certain age, she was young, but it's also in a maternal way. Like they share so many moments in the book, and I was like, we just nothing. I was so disappointed, and I felt like I had my expectations too high, and I was like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they don't even touch on these things in the Broadway situation. Do they expand on Squeak and Harpo in those type of ways in the musical?
Now, those aspects, I will say this, we definitely get a little bit more than I'm not saying it's as much as it should have been, but from what I remember, it was definitely more. And even Sophia and Harpo have a song together toward, I want to say it's like in the second act, when they kind of get back together, and it's, them kind of enjoying their new life now that they, they've gone through all this stuff. It's like it's kind of like a happy, funny song, but it shows that they've grown and now like they're back in sync again, and so it's, it's just kind of a fun, charming song. But like I said, we don't even really get the full circle of them. We don't see what brings them back together, or just seeing what it means for him to see her go through that, and then to come out of it, and then for them to understand each other in this different way now. It's just missed opportunity.
Absolutely. We need a book club who want to reread the book. This was even more than Harpo. Like I really thought that this was going to be, we were going to incorporate Squeak a whole lot better. And that was probably one of the biggest disappointments for me. Like Squeak is just here to squeak and do the same blow by blow. This here I juke joint and get punched. And I was like, why? Now, Disney Princess and One Two Steppin'. Let's get into Nettie. Halle Bailey, for me, I loved her a lot in certain scenes, and in others, it was giving Disney Princess. It was certain, because you can tell that she's really trying to establish herself, even though she's, been acting since, childhood.
Yeah.
But it was certain moments where I was like, man, I wish they, had her do that over with the octave of her voice. And she sounds like a damn Disney princess in the era and the time that we are supposed to be in. Like, I write you every day. Like, it's very,
Right.
Ariel. Like it's very Disney. So I had a hard time kind of disconnecting that some of the times, but it was certain moments, like you said, when she was talking back to Mister on the horse, and ain't nothing pretty about my feet. I was like,
Right.
I like that. Or that moment when, he does try to attack her and, things like that. And just her, she was perfect to be, that ray of sunshine, that confident, outspoken, that whole thing there. But it was certain moments, it wasn't perfect for me. Certain moments I was like, but getting back into like the situation with Squeak, I would have loved like 5 minutes to kind of fulfill Nettie's journey in the way that we didn't do in 1985. Just Nettie went a whole lot of places. If you just go by the movie, you're gonna assume like, oh, she just went to Africa. Like Nettie was everywhere and very well traveled, and it affected her so much to just see so much beyond where they had come from, and she had grown so much. And we didn't really get into that even when we do go to Africa. That portion in the 1985 situation, when we do eventually go over to Africa and we incorporate those scenes, and they're like interchangeables, and we just interchange Africa and Georgia all at the same time, and she's sneaking reading those letters. That's like one of my favorite portions of the movie. It was so brief here. It was so brief here, like with the culture and what we got with them coming in with the dancing and them arriving on the boat. I was like, oh, how long are we gonna stay here? This cute. And it was like, all right, bye. We just give you a little taste. Oh, it just really didn't feel lived in for me like a lot of this movie. And then, we get to the end. Rock it, don't stop it. Everybody get on the floor. I was like, y'all could have called anybody. This was what did we say, D? Here in namesake only, or stunt? No, you said stunt casting. This was definitely a stunt cast situation, along with her. Like, oh girl, we got Sierra coming in on the back end. I laughed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was it disconnected me from that scene that was supposed to be so important, because you bring somebody on who Sierra is a performer down, a dancer down. Actor, no. She's not, an actress. And for something that's supposed to be so significant, I was deep. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, D. How did you feel about Hallie and just Nettie's journey overall, and the incorporation of her being the older Sierra at the end?
Yeah. So yeah, with Hallie, like I said, I really enjoyed that moment. And I feel like, I enjoyed, what she was bringing. Like you said, we didn't get the full, we didn't get the deeper resonance of the emotions of the relationship like we could have. But like I said, that one scene with Mister, we could have gotten maybe a little more of that. But definitely an improvement. And for everybody in the chat, like I didn't dislike her in the Little Mermaid, but I also thought she was done dirty as far as the characterization, just the way that entire thing was put together. So that's why I said, like, I saw her more in her element in this role compared to that. But I wasn't mad at it. But Sierra, the thing is that, and one thing before I say that, let me also say that definitely was the more disappointing aspects of this, because when I saw that image in the trailer, I didn't know that was going to be the only image of the African. Yeah. Because African Homeland is one of my top songs from the musical, and it's basically, Nettie detailing her experiences, writing to her, but we also see her meeting the people and what it's like, when she's dealing, with the culture and all these changes and just the beauty. It was like Black seeing Black from the first time, not like Zoe. Now,
Dang, I wouldn't go that far. You going too far. You going too far. Sierra's like, hey, boo. I'm sorry.
Somebody said it looked like she just pulled up from Checkers.
It did. Somebody, you know what? I'm not even finna entertain y'all. Y'all heard my chest. Thank you so much for the 499 super chat. Nettie pulled up like she was a checker. I think like the situation with Tamala Mann being the wife and maybe with like David Allen Greer, or even when it came to somebody like Sierra, it's like, you're only going to see them X amount of minutes. Like, does it really matter? It does. For something as significant as the ending and them being reunited, it matters like hell. Like, it matters, and it took me completely out of the moment. Not triggers. Oh, go ahead, D.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I remember hearing, so I knew about this. I heard that was the case, and I still felt like that's not, because sometimes they announce or they'll show names on the cast list, and sometimes it's something else other than what you thought. So I wasn't sure if that was. I just saw that, Lord.
Are Nettie and Celie from the same father? Yes, in the book, I believe. Yeah, because we lose the father to a lynching situation, and I believe she's pregnant with Nettie, and Celie's already here. So yes. Oh man,
but sorry, my point is that's a very powerful part of the story, and I think the thing is, and this is not a knock. I don't have any issues with Sierra personally, but I think the thing is you have to serve what speaks to the scene and serves the emotional honesty and like the impact of the scene. And my thing is, you can do that with someone who's not well known, or maybe is lesser well known. It could have been could have been an unknown, someone we didn't see, but we know who this character is. So, but we need the emotions. Like, we know anytime, and I know we're not supposed to be drawing comparisons, but can't help it. But in the 1985 film, when you see the purple and the red, it's like
you crying,
and just the way that whole moment unfolds. And I understand it's not going to be the same because it was already done so masterfully there. But it's like, the problem is, it feels like, oh snap, we got Sierra. It didn't feel like this is the case. So that's the issue. And it took people definitely in my theater were like, okay.
Nita, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. David Allen Greer has been slept on. He can actually sing. He was hilarious as Reverend Leon Love. Yeah, if they would have given David something to do as the father, which is crazy because there's just so much pull with the father in the 1985, and you can tell that he is indifferent with his daughter, and there's just such push and pull, and he doesn't say a whole lot at all, and we just weren't able to do that for David. Like, we finna get into that, but let's leave Sierra. I'm sorry, Sierra. I'm sorry, but y'all know I have to be honest. But yeah, it took away from the scene, and it wasn't as impactful. Imitation Celie. Now, personally, Fantasia was not my favorite here. We know Fantasia gonna sing house down boots. I didn't expect anything less, but I was hoping that they would incorporate her writing letters to God. There is such a significance with Celie in her letters and her writing, and it really hits home when they would have situations like when Nettie's leaving and she says, I'll write you every day. Like, it meant so much for her to get those letters, and the fact that she didn't, and she thinks her sister is dead. Like that, I really found myself missing the narration from the 1985 version because we get so much of Celie's perspective.
Yes.
She disappeared here. She disappeared here. Celie's journey disappeared here for me. And I was thinking with maybe Fantasia being on stage, she gets, Broadway is a totally different ball game. That emoting and getting into that emotional state in those songs and grandstanding. The songs were beautiful. That was great. When we got into her just being silly, it felt like such a poor man's imitation in my opinion. It was not my favorite. And she was trying so hard to appear as, because she is a woman, as I said. She needed to work a little harder. And it's Fantasia, child. Fantasia is very grand in personality and body and everything. So for her to look really demure and docile in comparison to somebody like Coleman Domingo as Mister, she really had to tone it down, and I felt like it went a little too far down, and she disappeared from me when she was not singing a song. What about you, D?
Yeah. So like I said, I love Fantasia. This is really her first big screen debut. Her first film obviously was Life is Not a Fairy Tale, which was basically her personal story on screen. And so just the fact that she's even has this opportunity, I think it's awesome. I saw, like you said, where she was trying, but there were times where I could tell the range wasn't there, and she was kind of like stuck in one. It's kind of like there was one general kind of place that she was stuck in. And it's not like the emotions were absent, but it just wasn't the complete sense of like rage, frustration, sadness, like down, like this is like my life is, you know what I'm saying?
The songs, because when she would cut into a song and then I'm like, oh, we're about to hit and maybe get a different type of Celie. And it would like get to these certain heights, and then it's just like we're right back to where we were when I was expecting for, something else. But I get what you're saying, D. Go ahead, D. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And like I said, I see where she was trying, but it's like you have to. It just there, like I said, along with the layers of the story, you have to have a performance that kind of gets into the layers as well. So Celie is timid, she's quiet, she is unassuming, like she kind of shrinks, right? But there are these moments where we see kind of these glimpses of these other parts of her, especially like in the 1985 film. That moment with, oh my gosh, even the moment with Miss Celie's Blues, and how Whoopi plays that scene, and how you see the breakthrough of this woman acknowledging her in public, in front of all these people who have dismissed her, ignored her, and it's just like you see what it means. It opens her up completely, and it's such a powerful scene. And like I said, we don't necessarily have to be all the way there, but we needed a little bit more of that. Just bring out the emotions a little bit more. You don't have to go Tyler Perry theatrics, but I needed a little bit more from her.
Yeah, it was nothing that I can't say that Fantasia did, because I see that she has the capability to go there, but with the direction giving, and I feel like they, told her to be in a certain space, and I felt like they really confined her to try to kind of pipe up Coleman Domingo in the situations. With this being PG-13, they had to set certain tones a certain way and keep them there until we got to her, pretty much being emancipated. But I was like, there is so much in between there that we did not touch on at all. Let me see. Thank you so much, Bill by Creatives. See when you leave God out of the you get a mess. Thank you so much for that super chat. You are on a roll. Tara is always spicy. Commentary always hitting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's see Sierra's content. Of course, you couldn't take her seriously because you're a joke. Oh my goodness! What is with the mean spirited comments, ma'am? Oh, let me go all the way up here because that wasn't cute at all. Sierra would be good in a remake of Honey, the Jessica Alba. Not y'all trying to put her all the way over in Honey. You already know how I feel about Honey. You already know how I feel about Honey. Sierra, I am so sad that you feel that way, but we should be able to share our own unsolicited opinion, whether it is, Black movies or not. I get like really indifferent when we are expected to automatically praise everything. If you had been here the entire time, I don't know if you just arrived, but we gave praise where praise is due, and this is the portion where we are critiquing other things that we didn't like so much. Thank you, Sierra. Now getting back to this bottom part here. Sierra real mad. Yes, Sierra was really mad, and I respect it. Everybody has their own opinions about this film, and that's why everybody has their own channel. Okay. Getting into Shug. The Shug Avery infatuation. I put no selfish, promiscuous, drifting, drunk user Shug. Well, where that Shug at? We we gonna let Shug forever be unscathed. Like, we already pretty much talked about the dynamics of their relationship and what we really wanted to get into there. We talked about Taraji being just really, really great at singing these songs, but I feel like Taraji could have pushed this so far if they would have let her go there. Like, if they would have let her go there and really represent Shug, I feel like they took that little scene where we do see that she is entangled with Mister, and it's like, oh, they're not them getting down and dirty in the living room. Let me go put these files in the cabinet, and we just kind of left it there. Shug is a certain type of woman, especially for this era, and I would have loved to dive more into that. And I feel like it would have served Taraji so much more for us to go in that direction. What about you, B?
Yeah, I think again there are layers to Shug as well. That's really JB. That was actually Taraji singing, which I'll also say I was a little back and forth on as far as the tone of her voice. There are times it worked. There was times where I wanted a little more stank. But in addition to that, I just think like there. I'm trying to think. I don't feel like we saw what a mess she was. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And kind of like the nuances of her. And even just like, I feel like there's a lot to Shug, and the fact that she is like, she's beautiful, she's vivacious, she's glamorous, but she's also broken, she's dysfunctional, she's a drunk. Like, she has all these different layers to her. And I just think a lot of it was just kind of one. For me, a lot of the character was in one lane. I understand what they tried to do with the moment with her dad, but even that, like, what was the build up to that?
No, don't even get QD, because when the way they disrespected God is trying to tell you something, I was like, what? Keep going. What was that? This pathetic rendition of God. Like, not even, because Taraji, I thought those are such soaring scenes. It felt like they took away from that 1985 certain things. And I was like, oh, y'all could have left that on the ground. Why didn't you take away the other stuff that we love? Y'all could have took those things away. Y'all took away so many of the important things, or even the significance of the Miss Celie's blues. I was like, we didn't have time to explore Shug in the way I thought. We had time to go to Shug's house and see the luxury. I was like, yeah, that's what y'all wanted to do. We had time, for Grady to sing it, girl, and go to Shug's house. And I was like, this time could have been spent elsewhere. Even that long rendition of like Shug's in town, or the whole situation when she first arrives and everybody's, like, oh, hide your man, hide your wife. Shug's here. She about to thot it up. We could have, spent that really exploring other sections of Shug Avery's character, because Shug is a special person, and I wish we got to some of that, but that's good. D, what about you? Anything else on Shug?
Not too much else. All I will say, and this is gonna be it. I feel like I gave a very clear and concise reason as to why Sierra's performance didn't work for me. Like I said, it didn't serve the emotions. It's okay. It didn't serve the emotions of the scene. It felt more like having a name versus like, let's sink into the emotions of this. If it worked for you, then I'm happy for you. And I hope you will, I think you should focus on the fact that she's beautiful, talented, has a great husband, beautiful family. But as far as her role and her moment in this scene, it didn't work for me, and that's not going to change. But I appreciate the fact that you feel comfortable enough to leave your commentary. We can just. I
love how passionate Sierra is about Sierra. I like that.
Yeah, and we can agree to disagree without inflammatory commentary. So we can go on to the next thing.
I love the D. I just love this whole thing. I'm having a wonderful time. But getting here, I believe we are coming up on Restraining Mister. I've seen better from Coleman Domingo. Now, y'all know I love me some, whatever, Jonathan's going through over there. The majors, he going through stuff. I love me an actor who could act. I love me a Black acting man who can act. Coleman Domingo is one of those people. Once again, getting back to that PG-13 rating, I was like, ooh, if y'all would have just let him go off. Like, if y'all would have just let him, not saying that I want him to be, we want to hate him. Y'all wanted to see a Black woman get beat down, and y'all wanted to. That's not it. That's absolutely not it. though there are so many layers between Mr. from the book, I'm sure Mr. from the Broadway situation, and the Mr. That we got in 1985. I feel like they focus so much on trying to keep it at a certain, like, all right, that's too much. Now you only get 2 slaps in the circle, an hour later. You only, it's just they were trying to be really strategic where to keep it at a certain temperament with him, so we would have like explosive moments of, don't touch the mailbox, and then it'll go like it was. I just wanted to see Mr. being Mr. But it seems like they were more focused on, like, we want y'all to dislike him, but not too much on Mr. That's what it felt like to me. What about you, D?
Yeah, I enjoy Coleman Domingo. I think just in general, that man has a lot of swagger in general. And I think that when it comes to period pieces, he has like the look, and just like he fits so perfectly into like these, like, what was it? Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He was just in Rustin and The Butler. That was the first time I saw him. So like he kind of has the vibe, and just kind of I don't know, he fits so well there. I don't know if he it's like I enjoyed his performance on one hand, but then I also don't know if he had the kind of the menacing aspect of his character down. And I think there were times where we couldn't fully I don't want to say take him as seriously, but I don't know if it was that same sense of dread that was present. That's why I was also speaking to Dion Coles, because even with the short brief, that brief runtime, we kind of got a little bit of like, oh, all right. And I wanted a little more of that, and seeing a little bit more of Celie's, trepidation and that genuine, like, oh, okay, like walking on pins and needles. And I think that I appreciate the fact that they expand more on Mr.'s redemption. I just needed a little bit more kind of connected to that, because that is a part of the book, and I think that also throws people off, because they're like,
what?
Yeah, like what's going on, and why they suddenly become cool? Because that is in the book, and the part of it is just Mr. having to understand like his life, his reality. He has to finally take responsibility for the failure he's been as a parent, as a man, in so many ways, and that's why they're able to get to that place. But I understand why they didn't do that in the 1985 film, because I think it would have been too hard for people to wrap their minds around, like, excuse me?
I love the, what's understood doesn't have to, be explained. And he's kind of, in the distance with his little horse. And there's, no reconciliation. Whereas we have here, if you are not at all familiar with the book and you see them like chatting it up over Easter dinner, you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, how dare you have a forgive or abuser? This is sick. It's a little jarring, but I just know what he's capable of, and I didn't feel like we were able to reach those heights here. And it also really felt like we were more female focused here with our female characters, respectfully, like the book is a lot of that, but if we would have just, let him rock, let him rock just a little bit, it would have given so much. And it says a whole lot that we are equating the brief moments that we got with Alfonso being, more menacing than the entirety of what we got with Mr. But Coleman Domingo is always going to be a really, really great actor. And that happens in the book, y'all. They reconcile in the book. And I was thinking when he came in, and I think he asked, like, you want to, hang out sometime. I was like, no, didn't he like propose to her in the book?
From what I remember.
I think he had proposed to her, like, we could settle, like, what? They were really like here. And then we have that dynamic with Shug, like, I love in the that 1985 when she brings her little I's married now, and they're toasting. He's like, you had it your way and I had it mine. He and Celie kind of have that situation happening, like, if there's anybody who can understand the torture and the torment I'm maybe going through with loving and wanting Shug and Shug being Shug, it's Mr. Regardless of how I feel about you, that's something we have in common, and you love her just as much as I do. Like, there's just such a kindred thing happening, and it makes sense as to why, after everything, we sit down having dinner, but we don't really just get that here. It's just like, I brought you a picture of Sugar, I'm gonna buy these shiny pants from you and see you at dinner. Like, it was
right. And, and I was also going to say one thing that would have helped. There is a very important number in the musical called Miss Celie's Curse. And it is Mr.'s big number. And he basically is recounting the fact that this is what happened when I was young. This is what happened when I got to this age. This is what happened here. This is what happened. This is what happened. And then him realizing that, maybe maybe everything good for me lies ahead of me, and it's going to require something, not just to say something, but actually do something. Like he has to understand, like, okay, not just the curse, but also just understanding like what his life has been. He's like, okay, I'm gonna have to be accountable, recognize what I have been through, and I'm gonna have to make some change to go forward. And I think that was missing. Like they had the scene where he like is in, falls down and it's raining, but the song was the best moment where they needed to keep that.
Very, very dramatic. I was like, oh, y'all got them little water machines working up there, don't you? On them sets, child, it was making it rain. But him bringing the sisters back, it was certain things that I was like, man, I wish we could have reworked. Like the fact that when we have, them do the 1985 situation and have Celie come back for Alfonso's, like I was really hoping that we would get that moment in the book where she goes to confront Alfonso and asks, are you my father? And they have that really like just Celie really stepping into who she is, or even I was like, why we just couldn't have Nettie revealed like in the book that Paul, not Paul. That was never, our father in the letters, and use that time elsewhere instead of, how he died on top of me. Right? We absolutely didn't need that. There were so many windows and pockets to just explore totally different things. So this could be its own separate situation to where you're not even thinking about, 1985. You're like, oh, I didn't even know that. So many people have not read the book, and I just, I was passionate, y'all. I'm sorry. Let me leave. Let me leave. But I think just kind of finishing this off here with just where I was, and I really couldn't find the images I wanted for the scenes that I felt like were like missed and held a totally different meaning here. So I used, the old throwback movie. Robbed us by rushing. Let's get into this movie, Rushing. The main thing suffering here, whether they, did too much of the 1985 version or not, or a lot of the songs, they rushed so much of the moments I wanted to sit in. I put in No Sister of Mine because, child, where? I wasn't here for them singing it in Shug's living room. I really wasn't. I really wasn't. It just didn't, hold the same pool. And it was just, all right, it's time for another musical number, which I'm here. I was absolutely here for Taraji singing. I think she did a really great job, but I needed to sit in these moments, D. Like, what about you? Because I know how much this moment means to me in the audience and Celie, but we don't get this here in the movie. We do get, her performing Push the Button. And I think they were trying to replace this with her kind of ignoring Albert in the juke joint. And immediately, I think she hugged Celie, and I was like, what the hell? But yeah, that didn't do it for me. What about you?
Yeah, you have to have the time. And this is in a different way than what I mentioned with the choreography, but I feel like you have to have time to like sit in moments and sit in the emotions and just feel it, let it settle in. And I feel like there was obviously no time. And I'm not saying the 15 minutes, I mean, it would have done something. I mean, there would have been a little bit more of something. It wouldn't have fixed everything, but it definitely would have helped. And my issue with Miss Celie's Blues, like I said, is that the emotional context is completely removed when you have her just singing it to her after their, I believe it's in Memphis, at her house. She's already gotten away from Mr. And it's just like, sister. And what I heard, which actually makes sense, basically Quincy Jones said like, okay, I wrote this song for the original and I'm a producer, so you should put the song in the movie. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great, but it does nothing for this film narratively, so there was no point.
I see y'all in the chat talking about Celie's breakfast. I mean, it wasn't, as drawn out as the scene in the 1985, Celie making that good old Southern breakfast, but
that breakfast was no joke.
We do, get a brief moment of Albert trying to bring her to Bert situation. And I saw that a lot too, where people were like, I can appreciate this more. Not only is it PG-13, but unlike the 1985, this one's funny. I was like, which one y'all watch? There are so many comedic beats.
Yeah.
And that one that would like really, really have me shouting. But I like, even with this, I was like, I would love for them to explore, because I don't think they actually like physically get together until after Shug is eyes married now, right? Do they? I can't remember. It's been a minute
Say it
since.
again.
Yeah. Does Celie and Shug, they when they initially like for the first time really get intimate, it's not until she returns, that second time and she's
Yeah,
married, right?
yeah, with
Yeah.
Grady.
I was like, yeah. Even with that and their relationship really taken it to that level to where it's no longer just, love, physical. In fact, it's like absolutely physical. And they're in a real relationship and Shug like leaves to go have herself a time with a young band member. I was like, why we can't get into that? Why can't we get into that and the toll that took on because a lot of the story isn't just solely about Celie, getting beyond Mister. It's also with her getting beyond Shug and realizing that she can stand on her own and she doesn't need anybody. And let me just go to the end, y'all. Let me just go to the end and just be satisfied with what we got, like Sierra said. But just the last situation here, these were also moments here that I felt were so rushed in the movie. And I've seen many reviews. I'm gonna watch yours after we're finished here because I didn't want to spoil nothing. But they're like, oh, I just love Nettie getting separated and how quick it was, and it wasn't long and drawn out like it is now. I'm not saying I want to see Mr. slapping their hands off of a tree. I'm not saying I don't want him see him push Nettie in the dirt, but we linger in these moments because they hold weight and mean something for us later. And with them being rushed, like I have that here. Of course, I have the dinner table scene here. It was, even though Danielle was Danielleing,
Right.
it was rushed. Also, what you like, it was all of this was so rushed. Like I miss these moments. I think if we would have, even if they wanted to do it in their own way or be faithful to the Broadway situation, we still needed to revel in these moments because it means so much from us for the beginning all the way to the ending when they are reconciled. Like the fact that them being reconciled was just like, oh, okay, well, Sierra's here. I was like, this is supposed to be everything. I'm supposed to be crying. I'm supposed to be, living for this moment. What I did like about it is that we didn't have them be, older than a back dirt country road as they got to, when they finally got to see each other again. I did like that. Or I think Sophia gets like half the time in jail that she got. I think she got like 6 years here. Like they did, make subtle changes, but or even because I was looking like Sophia's eyes, she still looked the same, after she got out. They didn't make her look, just so worn and battered down and all of that good stuff. But that didn't mean nothing to me when we couldn't hit where I needed them to hit me the most. What about you, Dave?
Yeah. Another thing I thought, and I said this in my review too, but it was kind of like what I love about and what I love about this film and what I love about films like it, the 2 hour and 30 minute, 2 hour and 40 minute, 3 hour films, depending on what the scope of the story is. But usually, like, I like seeing the passage of time, and usually you can feel like how oppressive sometimes the passage of time can be, because it's like by the time we get like to a certain point, the characters have been beat up. You know what I'm saying? They have been through it and they look worn out. You know what I'm saying? And even when things get better, you can see that age and all that stuff is, it's taking a toll on them. And I don't feel like we got that same sense of, of time passing. I also, because the same thing with, and because it's a very, it's a very difficult moment to see what happens to Sophia, but it's even worse when you see her in that scene in the jail. You realize she's aged, her eyes, she can't really see out of the one eye, and just what's happened to these, how their lives have been shaped in all these years and all these things that have gone on. And I think that's something we needed also. It's just like we just didn't get to see even like the idea of where Celie gets to at that point, like where she pulls the knife and all that, and the resentment, all those things that have been building. You understand, well, even shoot that whole, which clearly they weren't going to do here or couldn't come close to that. But like when that whole shaving scene is such a man, and like cool, because it's just like it is an intense moment, and you can see like when Celie walks towards him, you can see death in her eyes.
Tied into Shug running anticipating, like, because she's the letter, and it's like she could just feel like something was afoot. Like, there's so much intensity in that version, even though y'all feel like the scenes, some of you feel like the scenes are drawn out and too long. It works. It works, and it just means so much. And yeah, I was so mad. I was like, I thought we was finna just live in this shaving scene, and then it was also kind of sped up for time, and it was just like, oh, I was married, and I was like, oh, we eyes married, not mixing with the shave scene. I went ready for that. All right, that's cool if this is what y'all doing. But that anticipation and that true build up, like, I needed that, opposed to Coma Domingo's character just Celie. I was like, it was a lot of him just yelling her name, like, where are you? Normally you're at my beck and call, but now, like, you're pretty. Even how quickly they found those letters, I was like, well, damn, if she would have just if she would just open the closet, all the music.
Where was the rat trap?
the little details like that matter, even though I believe in the book they were like concealed away in a trunk, but just for them to just be like, let me lift up this hunting gun, like, oh, here they are. I was like, okay. It's just been there this whole time. Or just, the subtle things of us seeing Mr. like hide the letters. The thing that I love about that first one is we really don't know what he did with the letters. We never just know until she gets them, even though we feel it like in here, oh, he putting them letters up, he's hiding them, we know she's getting them, but we never see him physically do anything with them. So just that brief moment of him sticking it and hiding it from her, I was like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But yeah, them letters being like right under her nose this whole time, like, girl, if you would have opened the hallway closet, you could have read your sister's letters all this time. But it's like, all right. Thank you so much thank you so much for the super chat. They got Nettie and the kids' clothes from Ross in this film. What is you talking about? I'm absolutely not dealing with y'all. Thank you so much for the super chat. Oh gosh. Thank you. Yes, Polly, absolutely. We will be getting together tomorrow. Hey chat, please join Struggles on the Slant Live tomorrow. I will be making a post for it, you guys, so be all on my community tab to be here, and we're gonna be talking about the best films from this year and what we liked. Child, my list short, but I'm gonna be there. I'm absolutely gonna be there. Thank you so much for the super chat, Polly. Yeah, the letters took me out, but but like you said, these are the moments that we really needed to live in. The dinner table scene, the shaving scene, her being separated from her sister. I really didn't want to look at that important dinner table scene, and as soon as they started, I was comparing it to and I was like, oh, I'm doing a disservice. It's supposed to be Fantasia and Coleman Domingo, this, and then I was like, child, this just ain't close, but no cigar. But wrapping it up here, you guys, y'all funny in this shit. I ain't even putting that on the screen. I'm just not. But wrapping it up and pretty much getting to the end here, D, you have been absolutely great. Will this movie stand the test of time for you?
Now for me personally, not quite, but maybe I feel like it'll give people, at least in some way, a link to appreciate the original stage musical and kind of have some of that experience. I think that it could possibly stand the test of time in that way. But I think the thing is, like, there are all kinds of films that are remade. There are all kinds of films that are readapted. Little Women has been adapted like 12 different times. Yes. Jane Eyre. There are so many different Christmas Carol. There are so many stories that have been done again, and everyone has their one that hits differently. And you could argue about the differences and what works and what doesn't. And I appreciate the fact that this was trying to stand out, because unlike what some folks are saying in the chat, I was very excited for this. Who has seen the musical? Because I'm like, no, I want to. It's been so long. Let me see this. I want to see these songs. Not straightening up.
Yeah. If she would have been cleaning that house like she said she would, she would have found them damn letters a long time ago, Bill. Girl, if you would have dusted a little bit deeper, you could have found them letters and been done with Mrs. Ass a long time ago. I'm sick of y'all. Go
Yes, Joshua, also a raisin in the sun.
Oh,
There's
Raisin
a
in the
lot of
Sun.
that's another example where everyone has one that hits for them a certain way. So I'm not saying it's not possible for there to be more than one.
Oh, I'm the
I just think
OG Sidney Poitier all day, honey.
right, right. But I think because the 1985 film has, I don't know, has like stood the test of time for so long, and because it's been so iconic, and because this didn't lean fully into everything that distinguishes itself from the 1985 film, like the stage musical does, that was where the issue kind of came for me. It's like, give us something we did not see. It just feels like a pale imitation, even though you're trying. We understand you're like trying to incorporate, but go all the way there. Don't just settle for, either go all the way there, either push for it, or don't do it at all. And I feel like there are certain things, just even with the emotional context of certain scenes that kind of get lost with this execution. Even it's again, which was another missed opportunity. But when Celie sings "I'm Here," that is the result in the musical of Shug wanting to go off with this young guy, and she's like, "Okay, hey, let me have this last fling, and then we can be together." And she's like, "Eh." And that is her final kind of like, "Hey, even though you've kind of been the great love of my life, I have to kind of get to a place where I understand like I'm enough, who I am in my life, and me being here. Not even you." Can underscore the reality of who I am and what that means in my life now, why it's such a powerful moment. Not to say she still doesn't sing down, but it's like, it just happens because Mr. shows up and it's like, all right.
Still promise. But I will say I did like the fact that I could watch this version with my kids.
Right.
It does, serve a purpose to, maybe but I don't know what that was for. My daughter was like, "Oh, they remade this." I'm like, "When you watch The Color Purple, girl?" That's Taraji. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm late."
Right.
But I did. This is something for the people who respectfully, like, I'm not here for everything that took place in the 1985 version. Like, this is very Color Purple light. I don't know why a lot of you guys have disdain for musicals. I love a good musical.
I do too. Seriously.
I love a good musical, so I was absolutely here for that also. There are some things in this movie that will make me go and rewatch it. Will I hold it to the same standard of the 1900s? That's like classic stamp, that's always going to have a special place. So this is never going to be that for me or, replace anything. But there is enough here for me to find value in it to want to rewatch it and, catch certain things. Am I, 100% happy with the film? Clearly from this breakdown, no, we're not. Absolutely not. But there are things to be taken away here. I love, anytime we get an all black cast together, Sierra, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. I'm here for the opportunities, especially in the day and age where we have people like your Taraji P. Henson's going up and saying, we're not paid, all these things. If it's not her, it's Monique. If it's not Monique, then it's Viola. Like, so for here, and I'm assuming, I don't know, since it's Oprah, our girls got paid. I don't know. I'm hoping that they got paid.
Right.
I haven't really just looked into that, but I'm here for Taraji being able to show her diversity and her vocal capability. I was here for Fantasia, just getting more of a spotlight on her and what she can do. I'm hoping that they bring her on to do future projects with acting, because I can see Fantasia acting and really getting in her bag with other roles that isn't, Celie or whatever, or any of that. And Danielle, we just need more Danielle, okay? On all fronts. Ever since, Orange is the New Black, she has always been someone that I have wanted to see more. But is this, the grand top tier? Oh, I love this one. No, it is not that. But I do value it for what they tried to do. Yes, Tyra loves Black people. I really do. I really, really, really do. I really do. I'm gonna finish you off, Sierra. Let's see. I just wish Black people would stop turning everything into something to laugh about. Not a single white person has said Sierra took you really like Sierra. I thought this was, about the movie as a whole. Respectfully, Sierra, I love Sierra, child. I grew up on Sierra. The first CD I ever bought out the store was The Evolution of Sierra, okay? I love me some Sierra, but just like with Sierra and Beyonce, I also know what their strong suits are. And it is musically. and performance-wise. Acting, not so much. So if you are in a movie of this caliber in this type of role, even though it was short, that's supposed to hold so much significance. I love to see it. I love that she got this opportunity, but absolutely took me out, and it's going to take me out again when I watch it for the third time. But this has been awesome. Let me take this off the screen.
I'm also happy to hear that the opinions of white people that's the barometer here for our standard. I'm very happy to hear that, especially with this talented all Black cast.
Yes, I'm here for this, and I'm hoping in the future we don't, because we get one every year. It's like we get one all Black cast movie every year. Like, I'm hoping that with this movie being so successful, we have more situations like this and more things to critique, because I'm gonna critique it. But Dee, you have been, absolutely awesome. You guys in the chat have been great. Thank you so much for the likes, and we almost got, I think like 160 people in here, which is awesome. Dee, I am going to give you the screen so you can tell the people what you do over there on your channel, what's coming up, where to find you, and why they need to get over there and support you. Go ahead.
So hey everyone, once again, this is the Movie Man, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you all with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And that is what I do over at my channel. I discuss movies, I give reviews, I do the occasional trailer reaction. I'm behind on those, but I need to do some more. I discuss I do recaps for certain series. And now I recently did Queen Charlotte, about to finish The Gilded Age, really great series. I love period / costume dramas. So I'll be knocking that out. And I'm getting back on board with the films. Took a little bit of a hiatus, but I'm trying to get back in with American fiction, with Poor Things. There's so much out there that I need to catch up on, and there are so many films that are coming out. But yes, please feel free to check out for my more specific thoughts along with what I've said. You can check out my review and any other review you see right here. And I will also be joining a couple of live streams that are upcoming with a good friend of mine. So just feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check me out. You can also find me on Instagram, DMovieMan, Twitter, DMovieMan2. You can also find me on Letterboxd. And is that it? Yes, all the socials. But mainly, you can find me right here on YouTube at capital D, period, space, capital MOVIEMAN. Thank you so much for all the support. I would love to have
you. And that's on Shug Avery. Y'all heard what he said. Get over there and show him some love, please, please, please. Like, I love Dee as a content creator and what he does over there. Like, I cannot wait for him to blow up because I told him it's coming. But we got some more super chats. Y'all just really like. Thank you. Built by Creative said, I got some coins tonight. You know what? Not you spending coins to be messy. Sierra saying promise to Celie. They cut the scene. Just kidding. Okay. I'm. I'm sorry. Like, look at here. Look at here. You stop. I thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Bill Creators. You have really made my night with these hilarious comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. You guys have been absolutely awesome. As far as I am concerned, be on the lookout for my Romeo Must Die review that is coming up soon, along with the Warriors. Someone paid for Warriors, so we're going to get into that, that 70s classic. We're going to talk about that. And I also have the reviews I do with Vacay J TV, where we discuss Raising Kanan, coming up also. And of course, tomorrow I will be on the Latino Slant with Pauly. Be on my community tab for that. Y'all know YouTube don't notify y'all like that. So if you're not on the community tab, if you have an Instagram, go over and subscribe to that so you can always know when I'm coming out with new stuff. But this has been absolutely awesome. Thank you guys so much for chatting with us for this long. Like, we had a steady 100+ people for 2 hours. This is amazing. Y'all was cute tonight. Y'all were absolutely cute. But anything else, Dee, before we get out of here?
No, that is pretty much it. I'll say this. I really hope that if nothing else, or even in addition to the success of this film, but I hope it definitely hopefully it inspires another revival or another, you know, national tour. And for all the folks who didn't get to have that experience, hopefully they can, you know, bring it back out and people can get the full, you know, experience there. And not to say that they didn't, you know, they didn't try their best. I'm just saying, but I want people to see the full extent of them taking the novel, taking and the fact that even the lyrics have actual, you know, dialogue and lines from the book within the songs, and just the way they take that medium to a different level on the stage. So I'm definitely hoping for that, and I would really love for people to be able to see that and have that experience as well.
Absolutely, D. I'm on board. As for someone who never, like, I wasn't checking for nobody's color purple musical. After this movie, I was like, oh, I really want to see it. I want all the context. I want all the details that we didn't get here. So I absolutely feel you on that. But D and I would definitely see you guys next time. You guys have a great night. Go and check him out on all of his platforms, as well as support me tomorrow on Polly's channel. Good night, guys.